Sup everybody, welcome to the Watchable's Real Spiel. I'm your host Paul, and today we're talking about one of the most beloved Halloween specials ever. It's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Now you can tell from that amateur looking title card that I'm not just here to praise it, I'm gonna smack it down a little. And not because I don't love it, I do. I grew up with it, I watch it every October, I own it on DVD because I'm kinda old and still sometimes watch stuff on disc. It's just that, if we're being honest, there's some jacked up parts of that cartoon. And I can hear a lot of you now, here's another overly PC D-bag trying to ruin our childhoods, or calling me a social justice warrior, or another liberal snowflake promoting cancel culture to avoid offending other liberal snowflakes. Not at all. Again, I love this special. I watch it with my kids. It's a classic. It's also a little messed up. Now everybody knows that one of the saddest things about the Peanuts is the treatment of Charlie Brown. As a kid, if the bullying he received at the hands of nearly every kid he came in contact with was supposed to be funny, it was completely lost on me. I felt bad for him. In The Great Pumpkin, they continue the whole tradition of bullying as comedy, as everyone constantly reminds Charlie Brown what an unwanted piece of crap he is. When he gets an invitation to a Halloween party, the little guy's ecstatic until Lucy tells him it was all a mistake, that he should have been on the list of people not to invite. That is cold. And it doesn't stop there. Lucy pulls the football bit on him again, he's humiliated for being bald at the Halloween party, and even the adults get in on the action by giving him rocks instead of candy. Unless you were a cold-hearted jerk as a kid, I don't know about you, but I always wanted him to take those rocks and throw them through those windows. And all that constant horrible treatment obviously had an effect on Charlie Brown. In A Charlie Brown Christmas, my man straight up says he's depressed and even tries to get psychiatric help. He claims it's the commercialization of Christmas, but he's a little kid who's accepted this terrible behavior as normal because it's the only world he's ever known, and he can't comprehend the cumulative effect it's had on his mental health. But back to The Great Pumpkin, because the bullying of Charlie Brown isn't the only or even the biggest problem I see with this special. It's the egregious child neglect. Now, I realize that in the Peanuts universe, adults are famously missing, relegated to unintelligible voices and phantom rock giving assholes. But in The Great Pumpkin, the absence of responsible supervising parents and adults takes on a much darker tone. I'm speaking, of course, of one Linus Van Pelt. Look, Linus is a dumbass for wanting to wait all night in the pumpkin patch for a giant gift-giving pumpkin, but he is a really young kid. He carries a blanket and sucks his thumb, so you gotta cut him some slack. But who you can't cut any slack for? His parents. I mean, first off, they let him go trick-or-treating with only his sister and a bunch of neighborhood kids, and we're not talking about high schoolers or junior high kids. Most have Charlie Brown's age at around 8 years old. And don't give me none of that it was a different time BS. Go check out a list of serial killers and kidnappings from the 50s and 60s, and have fun trying to sleep tonight. But it gets worse, and really sad. When Linus passes out and fails to return home, nobody notices. Nobody notices that this 5 or 6 year old little boy doesn't come home that night. It appears nobody even cares because they all just go to bed as if nothing is wrong. Meanwhile, their little boy is passed out in a field somewhere, but they don't even know that. For all they know, he could be in the back of a van heading for the border. But they just snooze away in their comfy warm beds until Lucy wakes up in the middle of the night to go check on him. And being seemingly the only one who cares about his well-being, goes out to find the little guy, thankfully still sleeping in the pumpkin patch. And this isn't just me as an adult or me as a parent taking this perspective. I thought this was messed up even as a kid. I thought it was sad because I knew what a close eye my parents kept on me and my little brother and how protective they were. So I always wondered how these parents could just leave Linus out there, or worse and even sadder, how could they not even realize he never came home? It's sad and you know it. And before you go reminding me that it's just a cartoon and that I need to stop overanalyzing or interpreting something that isn't there, one, I'm just having fun here. But two, what I am not doing is spinning or interpreting anything. This stuff actually happens in the show. So the next time you sit down to enjoy this Halloween classic, take a moment and be thankful for your own parents, or hug your kids extra close because those Peanuts kids had it pretty rough. Also, as a kid, that whole Red Baron thing with Snoopy felt like it lasted forever, but that's a different episode. Thanks for watching, and help us keep these videos coming by subscribing.